While the new voices of black media are running the yard, white supremacy's black bootlicks are just running scared. They spent months, if not years, telling all kinds of lies about Biden and Kamala Harris, lies that now have to be true. We told everyone that neither of these fools was going to do anything for black people, and the Bootlicks, desperate for an administration job, lied and said that Biden and Kamala Harris, why, they were going to do all kinds of things for black folks. Too bad for them, Biden isn't playing along with their fairy tale. See, the Bootlicks are getting their butts handed to them. We're holding their feet to the fire. We're not letting anyone forget about the lies that they told. And they're desperately trying to get Biden's attention and tell him, you got to do something to save us. You gotta throw us some crumbs so that we can put forward so we have something to prop up the lie that you're doing something for us. And Biden's like, what do I need to do anything for you niggers for? I'm not doing anything for you guys. Don't tell me what to do. And there's not going to be any executive orders. And I'm not doing anything. And defund the police. Are you crazy? Oh, yeah, as far as Biden's concerned, now that he's got the presidency, he doesn't have to do anything. The Bootlicks are taking on water, sinking fast. And old Jim Crow Joe isn't throwing them a lifeline. Now, after last week's so-called leaked recording, which in my opinion wasn't leaked at all, I think that Biden was the one who released it because he wanted it to get out there, because there were certain messages and things that were being said that he wanted to be disseminated to the public. But after that video did go public, you ain't been seeing any of the black folks who were in that video. I mean, where's Al Sharpton at to go ahead and explain things? Huh? Where's the rest of the black bootlicks at? Where are all these fools, the very ones who are cheerleading the most for Joe Biden and telling us all that Kamala Harris is one of us? Where the hell are they at now? They're in hiding. That's where they're at. But on the day of this meeting, before the audio had been released to the public, you had Al Sharpton on MSNBC, and they were asking him about the meeting, and well, the way that he told the story was very different than the way the recording actually went.
Are you guys still synced up? How was the meeting? Was it broader than cabinet picks? What did you guys talk about, and how do you feel about it?
I think that we talked about the broad agenda and vision that we wanted to see that President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Harris was going to project in terms of bringing this country back to a level of sanity in terms of how we deal with the budgetary concerns, the economic disparities, the black-white wealth gap we talked about. We talked about vision, criminal justice, and voting. We talked a long time about it. It was supposed to be an hour meeting, and an hour and 50 minutes. And then the people that would be in the cabinet would come out of the vision rather than trying to have those people that are being selected be part of some political pressure to get my friend or my buddy or my whatever in position. They have to fit within the vision. And I think that that is the spirit that we brought to the meeting. And I think the president-elect was very receptive to that and very open. As I said, the meeting went 50 minutes over. At times, he was very passionate in saying what he believed. Mm-hmm. And we all understand that we are adults and we've been in this and we're not going to get all we want. But there's some things that are non-negotiable, and we made that very clear. And there's some things I think he will say he's not going to do. But it's important that he starts talking to every silo in this country, unlike the present occupant of the White House.
Did you get that? There's some things that he said he's not going to do. Well, hell, from the recording, everything he said was what he wasn't going to do. Al Sharpton trying to make it sound like, well, there were a few things that he said he wasn't going to do. No, that was nothing but a nonstop. You can't get this, can't get that. I ain't doing this, ain't doing that. Don't ask for this, don't ask for nothing. Y'all shouldn't be asking for a damn thing. That's all it was for the entire recording. And as far as the whole, it got passionate at times, nah, it was Joe Biden barking and yelling at these bootlicks and them just sitting there like a bunch of obedient flunkies just taking it. Oh, we can't say nothing to Massa. Massa gonna get mad. This is what Al Sharpton says. This is how he tries to portray it. This guy, he is an empty nothing. He is one of these civil rights retreads, just a two-bit con man in a cheap suit. But this bastard actually had the nerve to say that we said some things that was non-negotiable. I didn't hear much of that. All I heard was, well, please, Joe, we begging you, please, please. Only reason that they were making any noise about Rahm Emanuel, very quiet noise, is because they know what the black grassroots have to say. They know, as far as Al Sharpton and the rest of these bootlicks are concerned, they don't give a damn about Rahm Emanuel. They don't care how many black folks get killed. But the problem that they have is they can no longer ignore the grassroots. The grassroots are getting organized. And we've made it very clear. We know who Rahm Emanuel is, and do not think that slipping him into the administration will go unnoticed. Oh, it's not a matter of it would go unnoticed by the black bootlicks. The problem is it would not go unnoticed by the black grassroots, and they know that. So they're sitting here going, Joe, you do realize that your buddy Rahm Emanuel, them black grassroots, you know, them bad niggers, they ain't like us. They ain't good obedient niggers like us. You know, them bad niggers who like to get into bad trouble. They wouldn't like Rahm Emanuel, so you might want to be aware of that, because that's going to be a lightning rod. They'll point to it. You're going to validate every bad thing they said about you. Better watch out. And Joe Biden's like, what did you say to me, nigger? Nothing, boss. Nothing, massa. It didn't say a word. But when Al Sharpton said Biden and Harris, getting them in the White House, we can start to restore some semblance of sanity to things like the black-white wealth gap and such. Man, as Dr. Claude Anderson pointed out, the damn black-white wealth gap ain't moved. Black wealth has not moved in even one iota since the freaking end of slavery. What is this back to something resembling sanity? Ain't a damn thing changed. But this is the black bootlick's job. Their job is to sit there and tell you, oh, things are better now than they've been in the past. And I told you what kind of con game that is. No, they're not willing to speak on all the crap that Joe Biden's saying now because, as we told you, as the black media told you, as soon as Joe Biden gets elected, Cedric Richmond, he gonna be real quiet because he said, y'all can't demand nothing until after the election. Here we are after the election. What's the first thing Biden says? January 5th. We gotta wait until after those Democratic senatorial midterms. We gotta wait until those runoff elections in Georgia. Can't do anything. We gotta wait. You better think real hard about that before pushing for anything before those runoff elections. And then as soon as January 5th comes, if he does by some unholy miracle, if the Democrats pick up both of those seats, instead of the Democrats saying, now we can do all this stuff, the first thing the Democrats are going to say is, well, you know, things looking real rough for us in 2022. And, you know, we got to look forward to the 2022 midterms because, after all, Biden will be hiding behind his perennial excuse, and he's already telegraphed what it's going to be. I don't want to do anything if the Republicans are just going to come behind me and just undo it in the next election. You know, that's going to be his lie that he uses for everything, because that's how politics are. It's a constant tug of war, push and pull, and he'll just be hiding behind it and go, well, you know, we can't do anything unless we can be sure that the Republicans won't undo it. Now, that's what he's going to say to black people. When it comes to gays, when it comes to LGBTs, to immigrants and everybody else, he's not going to be telling them, well, I can't do anything unless I'm 100% sure that no judge is going to challenge it and that the Republicans won't push back. He won't say that with them. With everybody else is going to be, I got stuff I'm going to do for you on day one. But with black people, here come the excuses. And the black bootlegs are going to be out here selling it. So this is what Al Sharpton was saying on the day of that now infamous meeting. He wasn't saying anything about Joe Biden telling black folks, defund the police. You can't have that. You notice how he didn't mention that. Didn't say nothing about that at all. Oh, yeah, we're going to be talking about just the justice system indeed. But he didn't tell anybody, you know, at that meeting, Joe Biden said defund the police was killing the Democrats. So we should stop. He said stop pushing about it. Stop pushing on it at all. Don't pressure him on it. This is supposed to be what passes for a leadership class in the black community because white power selected these fools. White power selected Cedric Richmond. White power selected Al Sharpton. White power selected the rest of those fakers, frauds, phonies, fools, sellouts, suck-ups, and simps. White power chose them, and that's the problem. Your enemy has chosen your so-called representatives. And they know exactly the part that they play under white supremacy. Their job is, as Al Sharpton has done, we gotta restore some semblance of sanity. Restore? When the hell has this country ever given black people a fair shake? When the hell has been this time that Al Sharpton can point to where black people were treated with some semblance of sanity where public policy is concerned? When the hell was this moment in time in American history? When? Idiots always talking about we got to get back to a better time. When the hell was things good for black people? When the hell was this? Yeah, the Bootlicks are not going to say what the black grassroots always say, which is that there is something very wrong with the country where you have to lie in order to say anything good about it. There's something very wrong with a country where you have to lie in order to say that everybody was treated equally or with some semblance of sanity, that the rules were somehow equal and fair and just. You gotta lie to say that. There's something wrong with a country where you have to lie about it just so you can say something complimentary. The only thing that anyone should be doing when in regards to the United States or in regards to either of the two major parties is a non-stop condemnation and damning of them. That's the only thing that ought to be going on. You ought to be pointing the finger at them and saying you are the focus of evil in the world today. The United States is the evil empire. And the Democrats and the Republicans are just two trick bags on the hips of the same white supremacist master. And speaking of in the hip pocket of white supremacy, these scumbags, these are the very guys who cheerleaded for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, and now they're in freaking hiding. They don't want to have to answer for the lies that they've told. Oh, what they're doing is they're hoping that they can lay low. They're going to try to slither their way to January 20th. And when Biden goes ahead and takes the oath of office, then these guys are going to stick their heads up for a photo op. And that they're going to let the white media say, oh, with much pomp and circumstance. Oh, don't you guys feel better? Why, you've forgotten all about all of those pesky demands that you had, right? You've forgotten all about those pesky demands now, haven't you? That's what's going to be happening on January 20th. Oh, it's a nonstop party. Oh, believe the hype. The hype is so real. Oh, let's just get carried away. The orange man is gone, and those demands that you had are no longer valid. And even if they were, well, anything's better than Trump. Even if you walk away empty-handed from Biden, that's better than Trump. And we're trying to tell people that just because you have a rude racist, that's no different than a stumbling, bumbling, half-senile, occasionally less than rude racist. Biden's only less than rude whenever he forgets himself. Every time you let this guy open his mouth, it's a matter of hunker down, here it comes. But the point that I'm trying to bring up is none of these bootlicks had anything to say, and they don't have anything to say now. Nobody's condemning Biden. Nobody is pointing out, hey, Biden did say defund the police is off the menu. You know, that's a deal breaker for us. You know, why is it that defunding the police is not a deal breaker for these black misleaders? None of them brought up we got to punish the police. Instead, it's a matter of we're going to go ahead and echo what Biden says. Yeah, because all of them are hoping to get a job from Biden, or at the very least, they're hoping to get some sort of access, because that's what these clowns are in the business of. They're in the business of making themselves useful so that they can be on the cheese and croissant circuit, maybe get a book or two out of it. Maybe they can get some television appearances and get some cable network to pay them to be on their panel for a couple of segments. That's what these guys are about. As Claude Anderson beautifully put it, these idiots are all about consulting jobs, like James Clyburn's malignant little spawn, Mignon Clyburn, her little consulting company. But when it comes time to get held to account, when the truth comes out, none of these guys have anything to say about Joe Biden on the most important issues that the black community is all angry and justifiably outraged about. None of them are pointing and going, well, you know what? If Joe Biden does not come through with any of these things, we cannot support him. You never see any red lines being drawn by the black bootlicks. But then again, why would they? Their white masters are the ones who put them out there. They're just a bunch of tools, sock puppets, repeating what their white masters tell them to say. There's never any red lines from these scumbags. No red lines were drawn before the election. There were damn sure no red lines being drawn on that Zoom meeting last week. Hell, that wasn't even a meeting. That was just obedience school. You had Joe Biden housebreaking the Democrats' black bootlick lapdogs. And no red lines being drawn now. Nobody making it very clear that Joe Biden, he does not owe his presidency to his bond-holding fat cat friends from Wall Street. His corporate buddies were not the ones who got him in the White House. Black folks should be washing his face with that every chance we get to point out to that bastard, we're the reason that you're going to be president. You failed 2 times in a row to even get the nomination. Black people got behind you and you became president in a walk when you shouldn't have got that far at all. You never should have even made it past the primary. Black folks did that. We're the ones holding your ticket, and we can make you a 1-term president too. You see, that's how power acts. Power makes it very clear we're going to start making sure that this bastard Biden understands who calls the tune, and make sure that he understands when he's in the room with black folks, he's not in the room with his friends. He's in the room with the people who are here to take a huge hunk out of his wrinkled, senile behind. See, we don't quake in fear at the thought that this wrinkled old bigot is going to be in the room. We're not scared that he ain't going to do something. See, it's like Khalid Muhammad, the brilliant warrior scholar, said, I don't want money from you. I don't want a job from you. I don't want a contract from you. I don't even want contact with you. See, that's how we think. But Al Sharpton, on the other hand, he's got his job on MSNBC. And part of his job is you got to help prop up the left arm of white supremacy's political con game. The black grassroots have been putting so much pressure on that left arm, it's about ready to break, so you better get in there and prop it up. Oh, I sure will. I sure will. This country has always done good by black folks. It ain't perfect, but it's better than anywhere else. And black folks, when you think about it, we ain't got that much to... Before it's all over, Al Sharpton will be talking like that because that's what he's on the payroll to do. He is not there to question or indict white supremacy. He is there to rubber stamp it, to explain it away, and to say that so long as the racists happen to have a D in front of or behind their names, well, then that means it ain't so bad. As horrifying as Joe Biden's words and actions were last week, these guys have no credibility and they know it. But Joe Biden released that audio because it was meant to send a message to the casual racists, read white moderates. That's why he mentioned Alexandria Cortez's name. It was to put her on notice. Nancy Pelosi was pressuring her. She may have gotten reelected, but the thing about it is she understands the Democrat hierarchy wants to have her out. And now Joe Biden, he releases that audio where he says, I'm not like Alexandria Cortez saying I'm a progressive. That was Joe Biden giving her a shot across the bow and letting her know, you're not just going to be dealing with a Speaker of the House who is hostile towards you, little lady. You're going to have a president who doesn't care for you either. And you wonder why it is that Alexandria Cortez, all of a sudden, she's backpedaling 1,000,000 miles an hour on Medicare for all. In fact, a lot of things she's backpedaling on. The Democrats are making it real clear to her that, yeah, we know what your name is. And every time the leadership of the Democrats bring up her name, it's always in a negative. It's always that she's part of a problem. We can't do what she's saying. Yeah, they're making it clear to her. Unless you want to go back to being a bartender, you got a choice. You can either be a career congresswoman or you can go back to being a bartender. So which one's it going to be? Cortez has made her choice. Not that there was ever any decision to be made. She already made up her mind the moment that she wanted to run for office. She wanted to have a career on Capitol Hill. But that's the reason why Biden released that audio, was to send a message to a lot of people to make it very clear. The new Democrats are firmly in charge. And as we all know, ever since the 90s, the new Democrats are nothing more than standard, basic, plain vanilla Republicans. They're Republicans with a slight less amount of rhetorical vulgarity. A somewhat more sanitized form of Dixiecrat. That's what these freaking new Democrats are, whether it be the unreconstructed Yankee Confederate Joe Biden, or Bill Clinton, or Barack Obama. All these guys, they talk, think, and act like a bunch of good old boys from Mississippi. But it wasn't just the civil rights retreads, the fossils from a bygone era who had to come in for some abuse. Why, you got the clowns over at Black Lives Matters who apparently thought to themselves that they were going to be on the inside track. They're still protesting the fact that Biden won't return their phone calls. Oh yeah, all that water that they carried for Biden, all of Kamala Harris's sins and crimes and atrocities against us that they pretended not to know about, that they pretended as if she turned over a new leaf. Now Biden's in the White House, and these guys, they can't get them to return their phone calls. Oh yeah, he's ignoring their meeting requests. He ain't ignoring them, he's refusing. These clowns are in denial here. He's ignoring us. No, he ain't ignoring you. He knows that you're there. And as far as he's concerned, I'm not meeting with you bastards at all. He's refusing to. This is an outright refusal. Now, according to Black Lives Matters, they were pointing out that they didn't like the fact that Biden complained that defund the police, let the GOP beat the living hell out of the Democrats in the election. As far as they're concerned, they're trying to get their mojo back because this happens to be their cachet. This is their brand. And Biden is undermining their brand. As they put it, it's demeaning to our hurt and trauma. There goes that garbage about trying to play on the white supremacist sympathy. You wonder why you got these idiots always out there crying, and, oh, don't you know he's hurtins? Here they are, that weak stuff. This is meant to present the black community as being nothing more than a helpless victim in the face of white supremacy. That's what the BLM leadership is about. They're not presenting black people as putting our foot down and making it very clear the violence will stop even if we have to put a stop to it ourselves. Instead, it's a matter of, oh, we hurt, oh, we traumatized. But to continue, it's demeaning to the countless times we took our protests to the streets to call for justice for our black brothers and sisters taken from us at the hands of police. Don't forget about it also at the hands of whatever white supremacist citizen at large decides to take pot shots at us. Don't leave them out either. The irregular forces of white supremacy, got to make sure we mention them too. The problem's a hell of a lot bigger than the local thugs in blue. See, D. Ray McKesson, he parlayed his little 5 minutes on CNN into what for him is gainful employment. Uncharted waters for him. And that's what a lot of these other fools are doing. This is all about climbing the political ladder for them. They're all a bunch of doggone social and political climbers. And they need a meeting with Biden so that they can try to parlay that into, oh, you should let me speak at the Sierra Club, or let me speak at the Commonwealth Club, or let me speak at whatever group of white power brokers that you got getting together in D.C. And you guys should be paying me to talk to you because Joe Biden let me come to the White House and that means I'm important. See, this is how you play the game inside the Beltway. This is how you play the game. It's all about projecting power, whether you have it or not. Oh, I was having a meeting with the president, so that means I must be important. And other people, even if they know that you're not, they play along with it because, hey, that's just the way the game is. This is Black Lives Matter's misleadership begging Biden for a job. Oh, can we have a staff position? Maybe you can do one of those bullcrap so-called presidential committees or one of those presidential groups like Obama was doing. And, you can say the White House Council on who gives a damn. And you can go ahead and say that we're on there. It'll be a do-nothing, unpaid ceremonial position that doesn't mean a damn thing, but at least I can have a photo op with you in the Oval Office, and I can tell people I'm on the President's Blue Ribbon Committee to study the mating habits of the imaginary spotted tail squirrel, and we're also going to look at police sensitivity training, and I'm the official czar of police sensitivity training. That's what these clowns are about. They're trying to enhance their own profile. They're trying to magnify their own imagined importance. And they're looking at Biden and going, hey, you need to help us out. Give us something that we can use so we got something that we have to show for all this so that we can use it as a springboard to enhance our position and make some money for ourselves. That's what the BLM misleadership's doing. That's what this is about. That's why their noses are bent out of joint. This is about the come up. And Biden apparently is putting a jinx on their little hustle. White supremacy is always trying to credentialize its bootlicks, and these guys are going, hey, Biden, you need to credentialize us too. we're going to need some qualifications, and, we need something that we can use as our credentials for getting some speaking fees and getting on CNN, something we can use when we send out our little emails telling people you need to have us on your show and don't forget to pay the speaking fee. That's what these guys are about. So I hope you understand that all these black bootlicks that you've been seeing on TV, whether they be part of the Biden campaign or just some would-be activists or some friends of Kamala or what have you, all these fools, this is what it's about to them. That's it. Nothing else. You heard what happened with that freaking meeting. Ain't nobody sitting there actually stepping up for black people. It's all instead of a whole lot of, well, we sure hope and it is our wish and we're certainly hoping that, man, they're acting like a bunch of scared darkies because they are. They were forced to have to say something because of us. As far as they're concerned, well, we said something, Biden said no, and well, that's all we can get. Now, I do think that there are two interesting things at the bottom of this article. First of all, you got some Democratic strategists close to the transition who said that the Biden people have been a little bit less concerned about satisfying progressives. They're a little more concerned about not alienating progressives. These two things are at odds with one another. Biden is not embracing progressives at all. What he's doing is he's making it very clear, hey, you guys, I think that you guys are basically going to be so glad that Donald Trump's gone. You're going to have to eat the fact he ain't getting nothing. You got suckered. And in 2024, the Republicans may run someone even worse than Trump, perhaps a more cultured white supremacist, somebody who can actually bite his tongue occasionally. But we're calculating that you have nowhere else to go. Not alienating progressives. As far as they're concerned, the progressives ain't got nowhere else to go to. But at the bottom it says there are also whispers of a progressive democratic movement akin to the Lincoln Project building due to the dissatisfaction of Biden's selections. Now, you better believe that's nothing more than controlled opposition. There are going to be some fools out there because of the work that we've been doing. This is basically white supremacy telegraphing what one of their next moves is going to be. Where they're going to expect to see some people trying to talk like us and saying, Biden, you made promises and you haven't come through and we're going to give you another chance. They're going to sit there and halfway talk like us. It's kind of like whenever you see these segments on now talking about the vaccine. They start off talking like saying what it is that they hear online from black people. Then they immediately pivot to whatever the talking point is. Well, the same thing goes for whatever this little Democratic version of the Lincoln Project is. It's going to be basically meant to derail what it is the grassroots are doing by having some high-profile, well-funded ads just carpet bombing everywhere, same way that they did with that so-called voter outreach that LeBron was supposed to be part of. In truth, it was just his name that was on there, nothing else more than that. But expect to see the same thing where there's going to be this phony pretend critics of Biden. But of course, they're going to be completely and thoroughly pleased with him. Nobody's going to be actually saying, you know what, if Biden can't actually do what it is that he's told, then he needs to be out, no ifs, ands, or buts. We'd be better off with no Democratic president in the White House rather than a backstabbing, duplicitous, fork-tongued liar of a president claiming to be a Democrat. That's what they would be saying if they were serious. But of course, this is not about actually serving the people's interests. This is a matter of getting the people back on board with, we're going to sit on our hands and wait to see if this hand-picked political puppet that we put in the White House is actually going to do what we tell him to do. The fact that you got to stand over his shoulder and make him do it, that's a problem. The fact that every time you look up this guy is telling you what he isn't going to do, that's a problem. The fact that this bastard does not fall to his knees and apologize and beg forgiveness for his hideous decades of crimes against us, that's an enormous problem. Now, all the black people who thought that it was cute to vote for these two clowns, you see what's happening here. These bastards haven't even made it to the White House, and they're already, I would love to say that they're breaking bad, but they were never good in the first place. All they're doing now is they're putting aside the pretenses. All their bull crap talking points. Well, you got to wait till after the election before you can make any demands. Well, there are other elections, When we said after the election, we didn't say after the 2020 election. We just said after the election. It could be the 2022 election, 2024, 2020. We have elections every 2 years, Yet, see, they knew what they were doing. They understood the rhetorical con game, but there's a lot of black folks who saw it too, but they didn't want to believe. And the reason why is you got too many black folks who cannot wait to see if the same white supremacists who caused their problems are actually going to ameliorate those problems. It's stupid. It's wrong, it's asinine, but there's some black folks who just for an opportunity to get some attention from white mommy and white daddy, just to get a pat on the head, just for something that even feels like, something that feels remotely like affection or concern from white mommy and white daddy, these bootlicks, they'll be all over it and they know it. Well, it is not okay for people to be cheerleading for our oppressors. It is not okay for people to be telling lies about the meetings that they had. It's not okay for you to be having an audience with this wrinkled up racist and his Asian collaborator. And here you are deciding to bite your tongue and we're not calling them out. No, there needs to be a tone set. And the tone that needs to be set is black people getting in these bastards' faces. But of course, that would never happen with these bootlicks. They were there to be an obedient audience so that white supremacy can manufacture a headline that would be conducive to white supremacy's interests. They want the headline to basically say, oh, Joe Biden, he had a little bit of a flare up, but you know what he said was that defund the police is a bad thing and black leaders need to stop pressuring him. And you notice how nobody said anything? They didn't give him any pushback. So, you know, black folks understand, as Al Sharpton said, we're adults. Can't tell by looking, you're acting like a bunch of little kids, scared little kids. We're adults here and we know we're not going to get everything that we asked for. Well, from the sound of things, what Biden says, you're not going to get anything. No, there was no negotiating going on. That was just that whole Zoom meeting was nothing more than political theater put on for the benefit of the black community, but also put on for the sake of letting the casual racists know that Biden's standing up to the Negras. That's what the name of this political TV show was. Biden stands up to all of these phony, pretend, make-believe black activists. Because that's the job of these black bootlegs. This is controlled opposition. They're pretending to be the black. We're standing against racism and we're calling out the white supremacy, whatever. These are their safe Negroes. Because as soon as they're told, be quiet while white daddy spews some more lies and he's pushing the next offensive, they'll sit right there, let him say whatever garbage he wants. They ain't challenging nothing, ain't questioning nothing. And they're not going to black people and saying, you know what, we have to admit that we made a mistake. We have to admit that we were wrong to support Joe Biden. Not that you should support Trump, but it's a matter of we chose to support someone this election cycle. We would have been better off abstaining, just sitting this one out, as opposed to leading our people to reward and to otherwise incentivize a man who has spent his entire adult life attacking us. So if they're not getting abused online, if they're not having if they're not getting a virtual spanking from Biden, then what's happening is they're getting nothing whatsoever. That's what the BLM folks are finding out. Biden isn't even taking out the time to insult them or otherwise degrade or denigrate them. He's just pretending like they don't exist. He got the presidency, and at this point, far as he's concerned, hey, he got the brass ring. He doesn't need to cater to you. This is all about taking the black genie that got out of the bottle, black empowerment. This is about taking that genie and putting it back in the bottle, or at the very least trying to find a way to isolate the genie. That's what this is about. Don't let any of these controlled opposition bootlicks fool you on that point, because they're here to help them do it. As soon as Biden gives these Black Lives misleaders some sort of staff job, like with Simone Sanders, all it took was a job in the White House basement for her, and she was willing to go ahead and lie for Joe Biden's most infamous crime, the '94 crime bill. She was willing to sit there and just tell lie after lie, denial after denial. When she got called on it, she didn't care. She just went on with her spiel as if nothing had happened. Selling black people out for crumbs. Yeah, that's the bootlicks' MO. There's no crumb speck too small There's no amount of navel lint too negligible for the bootlick to decide, nah, I can't sell black people out for that. You got to do better than that. I need more than that to sell black folks out. Nah, for the bootlick, there's no price too small for them to stab us in the back. There's no price too small for them to try to do us in. But we're going to make sure that we maintain a steady log of all of this crap that Biden's been doing to you bootlicks who spent so long trying to tell the black grassroots that we didn't know what we were talking about, that Biden's going to be different. Oh, he's learned so much since the 1970s. He's a changed white man now. You know, you guys, y'all is just wrong, and you gots to let him get elected first. And as soon as he does, he going to do things for us. Then he going to do things and deeds. It's going to be different. Oh, he going to be different than Trump. See, Trump wouldn't talk to us. Trump was up there talking to black people all crazy, insulting us and telling us what he ain't gonna do. Biden's gonna be different now. Yeah, sure looks a whole lot different now, don't it?